Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and it's time to go back to the 16th century and take over a shipping company in Portolano. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Gee, they're still making games with that theme? Yes, they're still making games with this theme. You've seen this theme before. You have a shipping company, like I said. You're going to be moving your ship around the board, gathering goods at some places, and selling them at other places for fun and profit. But you're also doing things like avoiding a pirate. You are going to be avoiding each other. Maybe not avoiding each other. You will have a little bit of combat in the game, and generally having a good time. So, I like the game. I think it's interesting, but you haven't seen it yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'll see you on the other side for some final concrete thoughts. So here we're taking a look at the game for 4 players set up already, except I'm not showing you each player's individual setup area. So each player's going to have their own ship, a barrel to mark how much rum they've got, some cubes, and their movement cards. So everybody has their own color, as you can see from these, and then everybody gets a stern that you shuffle up and you give them one, and they have a special ability. So there's a few different ones of these with something unique for each player. Mine happens to be, I begin with 2 coins, which in this game are called thalers. So I begin with 2 coins, and then we are ready to begin. So the game has a few phases each round, and the game is going to be fully over when one of the types of goods over here runs out. There's one full round after that, and the game is over, and you score for a variety of things. You'll score coins, you'll score treasure, you'll score these goals. You are going to score how valuable your ship is going to give you a bonus. How many cannons you've got might give you a bonus. Things like that. A few different parameters, okay? So I'm going to take you through kind of one round in the game just so you see how it works. So we've got over here already denoted that the wind is blowing north right now. So everybody simultaneously is going to pick a card, and they are going to put that face down. Once everyone's done so, we'll begin taking player turns. So let's say it is me. I'll be the start player for this one. And let's say the card I picked was this one here. So this denotes the movement for this round. You have to make sure that you line it up, of course, with the compass. It says I'm moving north. This is my ship right here. If I'm moving with the wind, I'm going to pay no rum whatsoever. If I'm moving against the wind, so let's say I was here and I chose to move that way, I'll be paying 2 rum. And the other 2 movements, of course, would be a single rum each. So I am moving with the wind. I will not lower this barrel to denote that I've spent rum. And then the second thing I do is actions, my player actions. So all of the tiles, which come in 2 different types, by the way, these islands, and then the ports, these 3 would be ports. All of the islands are going to give you something across the bottom. You can choose one of the many things and take it. And then they have an action at the top that you may do. You can choose to do nothing if you want. This one gives me a coin, which I will immediately take, and then I can either load up some tea or load up some wine. You're going to take it from over here. You're going to take it always moving in the same direction, starting here. I'll go ahead and take some wine and put it to the right of my barrel. That is how much space you've got to hold goods. And so as I spend more rum, I have a lower ability to be mobile, but I can hold more things in my cargo. So I'll go ahead and do that. That's my action for the round. Everyone's going to do this, so they'll end up moving around. And the world here, this represents, of course, all the places does wrap around, so this player, if they moved that way, would come back on up here. Once we've all done this, loaded various things, etc., then we are going to change the wind, okay? Before I spin that, let me show you a couple of things of what you might see out here. I already showed you getting some coins, loading the different goods. You might also be able to install a cannon onto your ship. You begin with the ability to have 1. You might also upgrade your ship by giving up 1 coin and taking one of these upgrades. We'll come back briefly to them a little later on. Or you might be able to trade 1 rum for 1 good or vice versa. You might also be able to give up 1 good and get 2 others as long as they're of a different kind of the one than the one you gave up. You might simply get 1 rum. There's a few different things. So the wind changes. We spin this. The start player does that. And then whichever way it is pointing, the pirate ship, this black one I haven't touched yet, is going to move. It is going to, again, move that way. As I said, it wraps around. So he goes there. And now we do the final phase, which is combat. The pirate ship will initiate combat first with anybody on its tile or anybody adjacent to it. In this case, there's no one here with it, but there is someone in a tile adjacent. Let's assume that player has 1 cannon already. Actually, it would be the very first turn in the game, so unless they began with a very specific stern that gives them a cannon, they have no cannon. But let's say they have that one. Let's be nice to them. So they have 1 die, and the pirate is going to roll 2 dice against them. It would be even worse if they were here. It would roll 3 dice against them. So the pirates will roll, and they are going to, besides destroy the market utterly, they are going to roll a lot of blanks. And then this player will roll, and they also got a blank. It's a push, so no one loses or gains anything, okay? If one player rolled more than the other one, however, then a loss or a gain is incurred. I think that's about right on the market. What do you guys think? That's close enough. So let's say the pirates roll more than we did, yeah? We have to give up goods based on how many more they got. And the goods in this game are coins, goods, actual goods, or rum. You have to give up one of those things for every 1 hit that they have over you. If you win over the pirates, let's say you got 2 hits and they got none, then you make up the difference in coins from the bank here. So that was it for combat with the pirate, and then you do combat with each other. In this case, these 2 right here. As long as the pirate hasn't already done combat with you, you only do it 1 time per turn. So blue would not fight even if there was someone else there. So these 2 would fight. Neither one has cannons. We'll say they do nothing, okay? And that's the round. That's all there is to it. And then we pass this on to the next player. Now, a couple of cool things here that might happen that I haven't explained yet. And again, I'll come back to these tiles in a second. When the pirate ship leaves a location, as long as there's no one else there, so say he left from here and went to here, then that tile is going to flip to the other side, giving you new actions and new collection possibilities at the bottom there. And we've got the other kind of tile, which I'll go ahead and talk about now. Let's say you later on end up there, and let's say I've already gathered some goods, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and take 1 of each. I'm going to take 1 of each, and I'll say I just arrived at that port. I may deliver the required goods, whatever they want. I could do 1, I could do 2 of them, I could take them all. So I only have the 2 now. I could give them tea, and I could give them cotton. 2 means I get 3 thalers. I'm going to get 3 of these coins. And now, once I've done that, I could load up to 3 rum. So I could gain that. If I wanted to, I could even dump this and gain that last rum. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. Once this is completed, whoever does indeed complete that, let's say my friend here showed up and did the last one. They only delivered 1, so they only get 1 coin, but they did complete it. If they complete it, they're going to get 1 of these treasure chests showing some amount of gold on the other side. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. And then this port is going to be replaced. We'll set these aside momentarily. We'll pull this out and we'll put a different port in its place, wanting different goods that we will later on cycle out again once it itself gets completed. All right. I should mention, by the way, when you load these goods, they come from the market, but when you do any kinds of trades like that, or 2 for 1, you are going to take those from the supply, just from a set-aside pile of goods there. Last 2 things I want to touch on here are these goals, which you will trigger when you achieve them, say having 4 tea. As soon as you do that, loaded, you're going to do that. You're going to mark it. And if you are the first one to have done it, you're going to get more victory points. Second place gets some. Anybody else doesn't get any, but you want to do it because if you never do it, you lose 2 points at the end of the game. And they are different. So having 3 different extensions, the first one to get 2 of these treasure chests, so on. There's a handful of these that you can choose to throw in, and you know, obviously you're going to get a different combination each game. And then lastly, yes, I'll talk about these. So when you acquire one of these extensions for 1 coin, you will add it to your ship, and they each do something different. This one, for example, simply allows you to carry more rum and more goods. The sail allows you to move twice on your turn. The cannons here, this will give you access to 2 more cannons, and this one here allows you to set your cannons to a hit before you roll. A single one lets you set 1 to an automatic hit. If you have 2 of these extensions, you can set 2 of them to automatic hits, and so on. Yes, you can have more of the same kind. And as you see, the numbers start to decrease. That is the ship value. If you have the highest ship value at the end of the game, you're going to get some bonus points. Second place, again, gets some points. So there you go. That's basically everything that's going on. You're moving around. You're dealing with the wind. You are gathering goods and then going and dropping them off for victory points, for money. You're turning around and spending some of that money for good upgrades that give you more strength, more mobility, more capacity, and you are avoiding the pirates or maybe fighting the pirates if you are very talented and can take them down and earn some more gold. So that should give you hopefully an idea of how the game works. Let's go back up top and tell you what I think of it, where I'm at in my head with this game. Here we go. All right, that is Portolano here, and I have to say, I like it. Like I said, I don't think it's brilliant. I think it's fun, though. I think it's well put together. The game kind of feels old school to me. This looks, feels, and generally plays like a game that came out, I'll say the mid-2000s, right? This feels like a 2005 kind of game. And in fact, the game it most made me think of as I was playing it is slightly older than that, and that is Catan. This in some ways reminds me of Catan. It doesn't play anything like it. The mechanisms are not the same, except for maybe the robber is a little bit like the pirate. Maybe. But it's got the same sort of, you know, balance between luck and some tactics. It's got this, you know, vaguely thematic vibe about it. It feels welcoming and kind of easy to get into, but it's got a nice amount of parameters you can change up when you feel like replaying it. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. It kind of reminds me of Catan. Let's go ahead and break it down a little bit more. I'll start with the theme. It's not very exciting, like Catan. But it works. Everything does make sense in the game. There is, you know, you are buying goods or gathering goods, I guess, selling them, using some of the money to upgrade your ship. Fighting with the pirates is, you know, going to take away your stuff if you lose. Fighting other people, you can steal their stuff. So it makes sense. It's just not very exciting. The aesthetics here are good. Like I said, it does feel like a game from the 2000s, but that's not bad. Nice linen finish, good looking tiles. The dice, these nice wooden dice, I definitely feel like, you know, these feel like a throwback to me a little bit. But everything's good. The replay value here is pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of little things you can change, right? The ship you begin with, the stern you begin with, the special abilities like the 3 cards that you have to complete, like so the goals, right? There's even these. They give you multiples of these, and they're double-sided. The only reason for that is because one of the bits in there is a brown barrel. I don't know if you saw that one. Well, that one happens to count as 2 things if you deliver it to a port. The only difference is where that special barrel shows up. So again, they change up a nice amount of things in it. I like that. I appreciate that. All right, next up, the game arc. Yeah, the game's a little samey. It's a little flat. You are doing the same things from turn to turn. Now, yes, this game you might have a lot of cannons. Maybe next game you don't have so many cannons. You want to try not to get into fights, you know. But the game you are doing largely the same things. You know, you want to upgrade your ship because you need more room for one thing. Definitely need to get one of those. Ideally, more than one. You might want to get some cannons. You might want to be able to move more, etc., etc. The ease of play. It's good. The game's got a good flow to it. And so I like that about it. That sort of turn breakdown. You know, play a card, move, do a little action, and then you spin the thing and see what happens. Oh, the pirate, okay, he went that way. Okay, good. Oh, he flipped over this tile. Now on the other side of that tile, I can go there and buy an upgrade. Or I can go get a coin. Or I can trade, you know, this for that. So the rhythm of the game is very pleasant. It's a very welcoming rhythm. Lastly, tactics, strategy, luck. I like it. It's not a very strategic game. You are sort of getting a little bit of luck thrown at you and then reacting to that on the very next turn. You know, you have plans that might carry you through a couple of turns. Like I want to deliver here and they want 2 wine and 1 tea. Okay, I'll go get that here. Oh, somebody already got there. Now the port is different and they want something else. But that's it. That's kind of what you're doing. So like I said, it feels like a throwback in some ways. But it doesn't feel dated. It's not the same thing. It just feels kind of like a homey old sweater that you are used to. You know what it feels like. It's not new. It's not flashy. But it's also kind of comfortable. And it's easy to come back to. That's what this game feels and plays as. I will say 2 players and 3 players. The board is truncated. The tiles available to upgrade your ship are fewer. They're lower numbers. So it feels less exploratory that way. There's less to do. So I do prefer it with 4 or 5 players. I would say go with that. Okay? But ultimately, like I said, this is a comfortable, enjoyable, interesting game. The game is. The theme is not. And we've seen this theme 1,000 times. But I don't dislike this game. It's going to get a 7 out of 10 from me, which means, you know what? Yeah, this gets a seal of approval. I dig it. You should give it a try if you ever come across it. And I think if you are expecting something that maybe you've played other games like it, maybe feels like a little bit of a game that came out ages ago and you just happened to miss it back then, I think you're going to find yourself having a good time with this one. So there it is, Portolano, 7 out of 10 from me for a seal of approval. I am Zee Garcia. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next one.